we started, right? Now we're gonna talk with you a bit about your music, a bit about the sets, but also what's happening in your life, connected to art and your character and all of it. So first, introduce yourself, your DJ name, and maybe your private name if you want to share that.
Yeah, so my name is David. I go by Tundra when I'm DJing, and been DJing in Prague for about 2 years, but only took on this alias, this name about a year ago, just under a year ago.
And why are you named like this? Where does it come from, and how is it connecting to your music identity and what you're playing?
Well, the original reason for the name was like tundra is a geological or weather region in the far north. And originally the project was myself and my girlfriend Masha, and we're both from really cold places where there is tundra. So it was tundra with the number 2 because there's 2 of us, and it just worked. It just made sense. We had trouble picking a name, and it felt right.
And now tell me, because we talked about privately outside of the camera, that you are getting into this character when you're playing, and this is also connected to your clothes that you're wearing, to the mask. So you don't always wear it. So tell me, when do you wear it? How is it connected to what you're playing? And like, how did it start, you know?
Yeah, so the origin of the mask was simply Masha was knitting, crocheting, having some fun at home, and ended up creating this sort of bunny mask, and I thought it was cool and asked if I could keep it. She said yes. And then I decided to wear it for our first performance, and since then I've always worn it at Eden. Those are the events that I'm organizing, and it helps me to be kind of anonymous there, because at these events I feel that I'm working, and when I'm not on stage I want to be low-key, I want to be anonymous, and I want to just be able to enjoy my night, help people out where needed. But a lot of the time for chiller sets, if I'm playing vinyl or doing a sunset thing, I like to just be myself. But for the hard stuff, the crazy stuff, the big events, I really like to be able to just take off the mask and disappear, you know?
How did you start? Like, what was first, the vinyls or the harder, the like DJ sets? Because they are very different. And also, like, you kind of, do you change your music, like, you know, to the events that you're playing? This is one question. Second is, how did it start? And what was first? Like, what was this first instinct that you have that, like, okay, this might be it? Like, I want to start doing it.
Yeah, well, I bought my first DJ controller when I was 14, I guess. So yes, I was playing bass even before then. But yeah, I just wanted to have fun with it, and I started a small business in my hometown of Ottawa doing high school dances. So I would bring all the speakers, all the lights and everything, and do all the production for high school dances, and I was also playing the music, which is why I needed a DJ rig. So I just bought a little small one and had fun with it, and then kind of let it go dormant for a few years, and then moved to Prague and was playing bass at Zorkovna and had the opportunity to DJ there a bit, and just kind of messed around with it for a while. And then I've always been a collector of records. So after Eden, which is where I started playing the hard stuff, because that, it had to kind of fit the brand and it's the type of music I'm passionate about. It just kind of naturally progressed. We started buying equipment for Eden, and I wanted to get some vinyl turntables. Also because I feel like learning how to mix vinyl makes you a better DJ to a certain extent. It feels back to the roots, and I've always loved analog stuff, film, all that. So I don't know. It feels good. It looks nice. It's just very aesthetic for me. I like having it in my apartment. It's just fun.
So nowadays, especially in Prague, I feel a lot of people are becoming DJs, and a lot of people are saying like, I'm a DJ, and I'm starting, which might be very good. We need, more views and more artistry. But what do you think about this? Everybody becoming a DJ nowadays?
Well, I think that for any art form, it's good to have a low barrier to entry, and I think that DJing is one with a very low barrier to entry. If you have a laptop and you can pay a couple thousand crowns to get yourself a controller, you can do it. You can learn how to beat match, and you can have fun with it. So in the end, I think it's a good thing. More competition is a good thing. You know, maybe it's somewhat hurt the or reputation of DJs or made me more hesitant to say that I am. I would call myself more of a promoter than a DJ in the end, or just an artist. But in the end, I think it's good to have. But in the end, I think it's also changed a little bit the role of the DJ. So I think maybe, you know, I wasn't around, but back in the 90s, there was a lot less of this like DJ worship, and it was just someone playing good music while people were enjoying dancing. Now I think almost maybe the most important thing about becoming a successful DJ and getting booked is building a brand. And I think that it's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but I think it's changed what's fundamentally the most important.
Okay.
So, I don't know, mixed. But I think it's good to see people doing art and enjoying it, as long as they're still dancing. You know, if you're part of the scene, just as important as playing gigs is going to shows, supporting people, you know, buying their merch, you know, getting out there, supporting people.
And if you could for the rest of your life only be on the DJ side at the parties, or only on the like crowd side at the parties, what would you choose?
I would well, if this is tough. Maybe because I'm also playing other music that isn't DJing, I think I would choose the party side, because in the end, I think nightlife, in my opinion, is to be enjoyed. And I really enjoy DJing, but also, you know, I think it can mess with your ego. It can do all sorts of things. And in the end, going out with friends and having fun is great. In the end, it's not that serious. It's a dance party, and it's meant to be enjoyed. So as long as I can still mix in my room, I think I would pick the party side.
Would you prefer to play only at those like small private events, also like Interzona, or big like stadiums and festivals?
Well, let's be clear. Interzona is going to be huge. It probably already is by the time you're seeing this. I was here before 1 million views. But no, I think like the underground scene to me has like a lot of character. I think that commercial stuff is great, especially for people who are new, or maybe who don't know what they want to get into. You know, and the production quality is always good, but I feel like the smaller, grittier stuff always has more character. And frankly, the independent events have better dancers. You know, the crowd.
Also like Last Eden. It wasn't so small though, it was quite big. I was shocked, but it was amazing. And now this leads me to asking you about the face-to-face, because you made also history by playing the first ever event in Prague, face-to-face with Dionysus. And it was crazy good. I had the best time of my life, really. It was amazing. So tell me about, first part of the question, your dream face-to-face person to play with. Second part of the question, like compare your experience with playing B2B to face-to-face, because you also had the like chance to play with the same person, both B2B and face-to-face. So what's the difference? What do you prefer? How do you feel?
Well, first off, I wanted to say it was a fantastic time with Dionysus there behind the camera. Secondly, it's not confirmed whether it was technically the first ever, but it was definitely the first in a long time. Okay. You know, I'm going to say it's the first, but don't quote me on that.
I say that.
Okay, confirmed. My dream, you know, to be honest, I would want it to be someone that I know, so it wouldn't be a big foreign DJ or something other than Dionysus. I would say my face-to-face dream partner would be Rivid. They're personal friends of mine. They play pretty hard stuff, and they're just insanely talented. Having played B2B with Dionysus at Strahov, and then now face-to-face, I would say that face-to-face is definitely harder. It's definitely much more about nonverbal communication because you can't hear each other. The cueing is different, but I think it gets the adrenaline pumping because you don't know what's going on the other side, and it definitely allows your partner to kind of throw you some curveballs and you can throw them back. So it's definitely more chaotic. For the audience, I think it's more interesting. And I think it's just fun. I think that sometimes by making things harder for yourself, you can be creative in different ways, which is part of the only reason I ever use vinyl. Just because it's fun, you know, it's to make a new challenge, to have a different concept. But I don't know. B2B, I think, is tighter. But face-to-face, I think, the energy is hard to match.
Okay. let's go back to your personal side. So you're not Czech, as we can maybe hear from the accent. So tell me where you're from and where did your music like story start, at home or here? And if you can compare a bit your scene back at home to here.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up playing classical music mostly. I was playing piano and I was playing the double bass. Did that pretty seriously, played in my university orchestra for my undergrad. Really enjoyed that, enjoyed the team atmosphere, and I've always loved classical music. In high school, I also joined like a metal cover band. We were playing like Pantera and yeah, exactly. So it was nice, kind of broadened my horizons a bit, and that got me on electric bass. And then I came to Prague, once again found this bar Zorkovna, which is probably going to come up a lot in these interviews. And yeah, just kind of started playing cover bands with rock, and then proceeded to move into DJing. But I'm from Canada, by the way. I didn't say that. But definitely, at least in the electronic music scene in Canada, there's a lot more house. Like techno isn't really a huge thing, especially not hard techno or even hard groove. It's a lot of either minimal stuff or house music, or just there's some big room as well. But there's a lot of hip hop and R&B in the clubs as well, or like reggaeton and stuff like that. Nice. So it's a very, very different scene with a different audience. And I think also people go to clubs for different reasons. It's much more social. There's a lot less just like dancing with your space, a lot more like talking, chatting. Okay. And so when I went to my first events here in Prague, it was a big like, whoa, it kind of really opened my eyes to this scene. And also just, I think the venues that are available here and the, relatively permissive permit system for running events here allows you to have much more of an underground scene. In Canada, a lot of the best types of these parties are just way out in the forest because that's the only place you can do it. But in the cities, there's no old abandoned buildings, at least where I'm from, or if there are, they're policed. And so the underground here is much bigger, and people are also, I think, maybe better versed in techno, despite the fact that I live like only a few hundred kilometers from Detroit, which is where techno started. The scene has kind of moved away, but it might be coming back.
Concluding all of this, and also adding the fact that you like this underground feeling of Prague, right? And you like playing this. I asked you this privately also, like, do you see this becoming your career and being a full-time job? Also, what would you like change in the community, if it's possible to do it, to make like underground DJs be able to, do it for a living and not only like play at big festivals and get lots of money and play next to, I don't know, Lady Gaga, but like do it nice and underground and with nice style and live of it?
Well, I think there's kind of a fundamental issue with staying underground and trying to make a living from it, because frankly, underground is maybe an aesthetic, but it's also a style of doing things, and it kind of means that we're charging as much as we need to charge to make our expenses back, and the amount of money that's being made at these events is not really livable at this point. And I think once you start maybe throwing events at the size or at the rate where they basically become festivals or commercial, you do kind of lose that. And so, I don't know, you see a lot of great DJs who I would describe as being a huge part of the underground, who are also taking bookings at festivals, at clubs like Roxy and stuff. And I think this is the way to make it sustainable. But I don't know, my word of advice as someone who is just in this like everyone else would be, don't let the commercial success of your art impact how much you enjoy it. Don't hurry and quit your day job. Make sure that you're comfortable, and then when you're ready, you can make that move, because I'm not there yet. And I think that if you're just trying to live off it, you might make some hurried decisions that you might regret later.
Now, coming back to some of the things you might see here. So first of all, this guitar. Second of all, show us your weird socks. Not weird. Weird in a good way, in a funny way. And so this all is connected to many things, which you can start saying about like your guitar, when you bought it, like all of the story of you playing the instrument and you playing in bands, and also about your mommy issues and about all of this together. Yeah, so say.
Yeah, well, this is my bass. I bought it when I was 14, 15 because I thought it looked cool. It's super heavy and doesn't fit on a stand. Really not ideal in a lot of ways, but it looks cool, which is honestly the most important part of being a musician in general. Yeah, so brought this over to Prague when I came here with me, and it took me through a year of playing music to pay my rent. And to address the mommy issues question, that's the name of a band that I'm part of.
Now it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible. But yeah, there's a great musician community here in Prague with a lot of really cool projects, also that I would describe sometimes as a more underground or alternative style. And I've been really grateful and happy to be part of it. And a lot of the same connections that I've made in this like rock and regular music community have also been really helpful in the techno scene and in the DJing scene, event promotion scene, because in the end, Prague is a village, and when you get into the music scene in general, whether it's through an instrument, through DJing, through promotion, you kind of learn who the 100 people in it are,
You are also organizing Eden and playing there and all of it, and you are a big part of Prague community. So, at some parties there is not like you can record and take photos, and at some parties it is not possible to do that. And at Eden is not completely, forbidden. So what do you think about this rule?
Well, at the end of the day, I think if people really want to take photos, whether or not you have a sticker on their camera, we often put stickers, they're just going to take them off. But the most important thing about this for me is that people aren't filming like the DJ in the front row standing there with their phone up in the air. And if you've been to these events, and actually most of the other fantastic collectives in Prague, these phones aren't an issue, which is great because it preserves the vibe on the dance floor. It keeps it dark. It keeps people in the moment. If people are outside, they want to take photos of their outfit, that's super cool. But I think in general, just limiting phone use is a great thing for everyone. And, at a lot of even great rock concerts I've been to and stuff, unfortunately, it was a problem. The big tracks come out and people hop on the phone. So privacy is obviously super important. But for me, the main thing is about maintaining the energy on the dance floor and also making sure that the people are not, I don't know, I think it can be a little bit voyeuristic. People looking at people who are dancing to techno. Like you should be, if you're there, I feel like you should want to be part of it and not just looking at it. So yeah, I don't know. We don't enforce it strictly, but I don't know, if you saw the last venue, I didn't see very many people on their phones. And that's the most important thing to me.
That's very nice. That's a very nice answer. Thank you very much. I have, I think, maybe one last question. So it's very like a fantasy question. If you could only play for 5 more years, like whatever you want for 5 more years, or play like for all of your 25 years of life, but only what you played like in the past. So only play for 25 more years, but only what you played in the past already, or for 5 more years, but new stuff.
I'd go for the new stuff. I love what I've played in the past, but I think that being an artist is building on what you've done in the past and doing something new. And I think that most people who have this artistic personality type hate the idea of stagnating and falling into a routine and doing things the same over and over and over again. So I think, you need to keep new concepts coming, keep new different tracks coming, different styles coming, because once it gets stale, I think it can be a hobby, but then it's not as satisfying to me anymore. So I'd rather just go hard, join the 27 club, There's the answer.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.